a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning.
Good morning, viewers, and welcome back to the Tobago Updates morning show, coming to you here live from the Port Mall in Scarborough, Tobago. We just at about 7:10 a.m. this morning. I'm Julien Skeete, and indeed we're happy to have you. Thank you for choosing the Tobago Updates morning show. In this segment, we get the conversation started with Curtis Williams, President of the Trinidad and Tobago Chamber of Industry and Commerce Tobago chapter. And we're speaking to the issue of a minimum wage increase and our economy. And when you got the chance to chat with Curtis, you got so much more that you want to get the perspective of the chamber on. Good morning to you and welcome.
Morning, Julian. Morning to the viewers and listeners and Tobago Updates. And it's a pleasure having you here. Happy New Year to all of you.
All right, certainly Happy New Year to you as well. How have things been for the start of for the chamber for 2024? Hopes and aspirations?
Yeah, definitely. Lots of hopes and aspiration. We know that 2023 wasn't of that brilliant of a year. Most of us didn't do that well. And so we're looking forward to 2024. I mean, this had to be the action year. If it don't happen within the first 6 months, then we lose it. Then we're definitely going to be really, really down.
All right. We saw the recent increase that would have taken place as January 1st, 2024 with the minimum wage. Of course, the announcements came prior to give some kind of indication. Tell us particularly what the impact on that in terms of your members, those who continue to ensure and to offer employment from the standpoint of the private sector here in Tobago.
Well, as I indicated last year, that most of our members do pay over the minimum wage. So we applaud the effort of giving the workers a little bit more on their hourly rate. The effect of the minimum wage now will affect the service industry, and that will be the folks that have companies in that sector, security officers, and those who are labor intensive. They are the ones that will feel the direct effect of the minimum wage, because moving from $17.50 to $20.50, that add-on of $3 is actually in reality will be about $5 per hour. And when we look at $5 per hour and we add things like sick leave, maternity leave, NIS contribution, public liability insurances, workman compensation, then that's going to be a hit for the bottom line of those in the security areas or the service industry. So there definitely going to be some sort of adjustment you will have to definitely make on your bottom line. It meant that going out bidding for new contracts, you definitely have to use a different rate. So the government must understand that come January the 1st, which gone, the rate will definitely increase for all service providers in this industry.
Should we be concerned that this will spill off to a wider cross section, which potentially, might have a reverse kind of effect? And by that I simply mean, while some, particularly the lower income earner brackets in our country might be looking forward to this increase, that it could potentially result ultimately in higher prices at some of the core spaces. I know you're speaking to the service industry, but when we get down to the fact that services also connects right back to our groceries in some instances and other spaces, what is the likely impact in that regard? Because of course in 2024, where it is that's one grouping that you're trying to assist in some way, form or fashion. Is the resulting effect going to probably net it off and be just as challenging as it was previously?
As mentioned, some of the supermarket owners indicated that definitely their wage bill will go up, and some of the costs will be passed on to the consumer. Because of the level of business they're doing, it mightn't be drastic. It might be a triple effect going on to the customer. But we also want to look at there are other things that causing the prices to go up. Not only minimum wage, crime is on the rise, and everyone is running scared in Tobago. So when a grocery or supermarket owner now have to increase on security, so instead of having maybe unarmed guard, you now have to have armed guards. Instead of having one patrols, you probably have to have 4 patrols. And you have to install CCTV system and all these other things that he have to put in. And plus the minimum wage, then we definitely see he will put something onto his prices going forward.
So ultimately, in these circumstances, what other recommendations might the chamber want to make? If you have that opportunity to really get a say in per se, you know, and this is at the national level. What are some of the other core recommendations, you know, that you would want to make so that ultimately when you create an environment where people feel like it's easier to thrive financially as opposed to some of the challenges that are faced now in terms of trying to make the dollar meet you know, that basic basket and purchase when the month comes?
Yeah, that's correct. And we want to look at areas. What about incentive for tax incentive for the business owners? And that could be a good thing to move forward with. We do employ a lot of folks, and we could look at some sort of incentive that the government could put towards the business owner to kind of net off that wage bill that going forward. And when we look at what we have out there presently, there's nothing competitive to assist us going forward. We're easy in doing business. All these loans, can the bank and the other agencies look at cutting at least 1%? Julien, 1% off your mortgage of probably $2-3 million is a lot, and it will really pay a big difference. So we can look at some of the initiative, because we did met with the bankers, and we're going to meet with the other banks as well. And these are some of the things we are speaking to them about. What about looking at cutting on our interest rates on our loans for startups and for businesses that have been ailing for some time, and get us to do a repackaging of that loan or mortgage to us to go forward throughout 2024. Because if we don't do it in 2024, Julien, that's it. The numbers in 2020, 2021, 2022, especially 2022, was terrible. And 2023, we were trying to frame it up. But 2024, if we don't have something a real plan going forward, we will be in some trouble.
Would you still say that this is some of the resulting effects of COVID that goes well beyond that?
Well, it's part of it, and COVID has been a contributing factor to it. Some of us haven't recovered from COVID as yet financially, and hence the reason why we were asking upon the banks and other financial agencies to look at business. When the businessman come to you, just don't run him and tell him he's not running proper business. Please look at what he really telling you, because the effect of COVID going forward is very, very detrimental to us.
And as we look forward, and you know, those projections in 2024, we want to chat a little bit the relationships in terms of the chamber at the national level with central government, and right here in Tobago with the Tobago House of Assembly. What's that relationship like now?
Well, that relationship is a very cordial one. We are having conversation with the central government, the ministers, to have them come across to Tobago, tell us about their plans, share it with the THA. And also we are having conversation with the THA and the executive. We want to know their plans for the island for 2024 and how best the chamber can partner with them going forward. Because without the business community, it's just going to be a big holdback for any development at all on the island. And we want to look at the contractors. We want to look at works happening in the space, and let's have some local capacity going forward, because it's important that we do use our local capacity as we do all these major projects going forward. At least let's have about 50% local capacity, especially like the airport project, big projects. We have a new thing that popping up soon. I think is the Scarborough beautification. I mean, that's a game changer. And what about us having some local capacity going forward if that project do come to fruition soon? All right, but there may be other low-hanging fruits that we can look at, but the idea is to get the local contractors involved so that we could get some spin-off of funds moving through.
And I'm happy you mentioned local contractors. Is that one of the issues that the chamber is prepared to confront with the THA? There's still some out there in terms of making the complaints and challenges not being paid for a period of time. The THA is saying that some have been paid and they're not necessarily being upfront. Is that one of the issues that the chamber will definitely be willing to take head on in terms of trying to follow up so as to ensure, just as you are saying, that you get back to that point where Tobago contractors are integrated as part of the the income earners and being able to connect further to even provide employment and so on?
And you're correct, Julien. Some of the contractors still awaiting funding. Most of them got something. They mightn't got all, but they did get something. We have some providers. We have some service providers as well. So not only contractors, we have service providers who is out by a couple months. Some is out by 3-4 months. So we can look at those as well. So not only contractors, but service providers who provide services on a month-to-month basis. They are out in some areas as well. So we definitely going to put that on the agenda for having a chat with the executive as we go forward. But what we want to see is that the THA use a little more local content in getting things happening in the space. We know that fund will be able to get a ripple effect, and that with that trickle down effect, it would really do good for us.
How would you define things now in terms of the private sector here in Tobago, and where you hope things will go for 2024?
Well, the private sector, we are now shaping things. There are hope. There are definitely, we've seen some hope going forward. And but we want to make sure that it's just not a dream and it's reality. So hence the reason why we're asking for the partnership with the THA and the banks as we go forward in looking at.
And I like the fact that you mentioned those two entities. I mean, the government is an expected one in terms of treating it, but particularly that idea to look at the banks as one of the sectors, and I suppose very broadly the financial sector,
correct,
as being able to partner with the chamber in terms of really trying to connect. Any other sectors that you hope to place a greater level of focus on for 2024?
Well, the insurance, because we see a lot of folks not paying the insurance as we're going forward, and we know that sector probably struggles a bit in going there, because the first thing you do stop paying when you're under crisis is for instance your insurance and all these other things. You will cut back on them. So we are asking that all the players, the financial sector, the Tobago Assembly, and that is what actually the chamber is doing at the present moment. We are meeting with all these players and having conversation with them as we frame up 2024 going forward in the Tobago space.
All right. What would you like to share with our viewers? Hopes, dreams, and aspirations, or more importantly, simply your words on behalf of the chamber as we close this morning's interview.
Well, what I would say that our team at the Tobago division, our management team, we're really working hard to assist the business folks in Tobago and as Tobago on the whole. I know our term of office will come to an end next month, and we're hoping that you re-employ us again, because we are NGO and we voted in. So we hope that we could really chart something going forward in our elections next month. And we're asking all the business owners in Tobago, please come on board and assist us in the fight of really getting Tobago where it ought to be.
You know, as you just mentioned elections, what would you say in this term that you have served? Because I know you have been involved for some time, and deciding to take on the heavy is the head that wears the crown. What would you say is definitely one of the outstanding things for you and your team in this period that you've served, leading the Tobago Chamber?
Well, you mentioned it earlier on. What we were looking at is to get our members more interested, because when we took over the helm of the chamber, we had a bit of challenges, and our members were definitely dwindling. With the hope were there, and now that our numbers are increasing drastically, and we are quite happy for that. And we're asking those other business owners outside who's listening to us, and we have a lot in place. We formed the Tobago Business Advisory Service, and these services and all these other things that we're trying to do to put your business in the right direction, so you'll be ready for business in Tobago and Trinidad and Tobago.
Tell us very quickly, how do members connect with you? Those who may be listening in, interested, have no clue where to find the office. How can I become a part of the chamber? How do I qualify?
Yeah, please call us at 639-2669, 639-2669. Our offices are where the standard offices to be, upstairs. We're on that level, and you will see the sign. You can't miss it. It's a beautiful car park and a wonderful building. Please come and visit us, and where we can have that conversation and assist you going through your business.
Excellent. All right. Thank you very much there, Curtis Williams, joining us here on set, President of the Tobago chapter of the Trinidad and Tobago Chamber of Industry and Commerce. As we're speaking about some of the general matters existing here, we're charting that way forward for 2024. Thank you so much for joining us here on set to provide these updates. Viewers, we want to thank you so much for the continued love and support, and for choosing the Tobago Updates morning show. I want to say shout outs this morning to Yolanda on with us and connecting with us. Very faithful viewer, Marilyn Spence, Joe Field, Pearl Murray Beard, good morning to you. Valana, thank you so much for connecting. Alex, Javon, Keith, thank you so much to each and every one of you. I see Auntie Helen Simon in the mix, the man himself, Terry Trinidad, Selma Lashley. Thank you so much to each and every one of you for continuing to choose the Tobago Updates morning show. And at this point, we head on out to a break, but we want to remind you that this is your opportunity to share the live, share the live, share the live.